All right. So, slight recap. After you all rescued um, the prisoners from underneath the jail, you all regroup at the little hideaway beneath Sid's workshop. After a bit of rest and planning, some of the prisoners who don't really want to fight have been moved to a new location where they would be safe. Trellis took the opportunity with Sid to sneak back out of the city. Now Sid goes to collect the mech dragon to fly and be repaired. Trellis makes his way back to Boss. How long that's going to take, however, you have no idea yet. So in the meantime, it is the next day, and you all get up, refreshed, relaxed, as you get ready to plan your next move. Come on, you. Come on, you.
Yeah.
You know what? This is perfect. This is perfect planning music right here. The Nephrite is up and just up and moving. Can't really say ready to plan yet, but just up and moving.
And as of right now, Biggs and Wedge are working on your requests at the moment. Nephrite.
Sweet. And also a bit of a side note. After our last session, just a little peek behind the curtain, Alish asked Azrael if he could gather information for us to see if... Let me actually read this verbatim. For these next battles, I can protect only some of the group from my area spells. Ideally, only 4 of us are within 20 to 30 feet of the target. I'm figuring from our group, Grandpa, Nova, Jerry, and Kira would be the main ones that I would choose, and I agree with him on that. Once per day, I can protect up to 7 people, but I'm going to save that for Sickening Radiance. I would have to remain back, and so would the companions. With all due respect to your highness, I'd like to have you also keep back, and Eichel can decide to go in or not. If I were you, Azrael, you can also be put up front. He paused. Now with the invisible stalkers having been sent out, I'm figuring that the prison break was discovered, which means the security around the royalty is going to be increased to the maximum. We would need to get information about things. Azrael, do you think you can get that? In other words, he was asking if he could get information about security around the royals.
At the end of that conversation, he said he will try and left that moment. He has returned and is explaining everything to Garland and Rodrigue. And Holnir is asleep, apparently.
No,
That's Holnir.
that's not Holmir.
Oh!
Holnir's sleeping.
Holnir sleeping in the kitchen, I'm thinking. That was
No,
Nova.
He's cooking in the kitchen right now.
The only person asleep
Yeah,
still is Ogren, because as I said in the side chat, he's snoring like a log.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Nolan, by this point, Nolan and Holner are up in the kitchen making breakfast at the moment, so...
Do your thing.
Okay, normal?
Didn't they? Oh yeah, they did that for dinner, not for breakfast.
Yep, normal.
Making sure, and yeet.
I got it.
Mark
Let's
it.
see what... Okay, so
Dragon arrives with the 12.
Yep, you arrived, Dragon, and we just started, so you did not miss much. Just the recap of what happened.
Yep.
And I also asked about your question in the behind the scenes, and Asriel did find out some stuff, and we were just getting into that after somebody wakes up Nova.
Kira's going, I'm on it.
I mean, if you want to wake him up like Sleeping Beauty just to get a little bit of revenge on my sake, you could.
Let's see. See here, what do I have that could...
I kind of want to be a bit of a troll right now, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, basically what she does is gets a little water from her water skin and makes a cloth damp and cold and places it around his forehead area as she squeezes it so it kind of drifts down his face.
He just starts waving in front of his face as if he's still a slave.
Oh, the
That'd
sweet
be
and
fun.
real sergeant version.
Okay, gonna do that. Fine. And oh my god, I can't believe I'm gonna do those.
Sleeping Beauty.
Smack him.
She attempts to like pull your arm, so you fall out the bed.
I'm gonna sleep, so that's what with disadvantage,
Yeah,
The sibling approach.
and that is what, strength.
Yep.
yep.
She did it, barely.
Yep, she
So when she gets
Well,
him out of
that-
bed, he's just face first on the floor, and he's like, "I'm up."
I mean, she could have asked Hold here to come and pick the bed up and flop him out of it.
we're
That
we're
would've
trying to
been
keep the
overkill.
beds intact.
It would have been attacked. You just would have done it like how Mr. Incredible got the cat out of the tree.
Overkill. But continuing on,
Yeah,
Arvin gets up and he's like, "Morning."
sorry, but it had to be done. As she, before you get up, she kisses your forehead.
Arvin just blushes because like because now he's the center of attention. It's like, yeah, no problem. Yes, and then he just kisses her cheek as well, making it bluntly obvious that yes, this is true now to the group.
In the meantime, Aiko kind of goes to Yennefer going, are they always like this in the morning?
No, this is recent. But now that we have everybody in the party up and active, as well as some of the planners, I believe we should try to get to work to see what can we do to sneak in, complete this mission, and get out.
So what
Because
is
I think we
the
all know for a fact the prince ain't going down without a fight.
no. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Since this party is going to be going on, wouldn't the king and princess supporters be there as well?
Yes.
We spread fact as rumor. It will force his allies to be suspicious at best and want to dig more into it.
Amael, you want to take this one, or do you think we should pass that on to Kira?
So, I'm of the opinion that we need to take on each of the two targets separately, if at all possible. I do not feel confident of our odds challenging both the king and the prince at the same time.
And I agree.
Either one of those is going to be a tough challenge in and of themselves.
Which I agree. However, though, you also have the fact of the way we remember our last interaction with some noblemen, and they treated give me a second, Grandpa Hashir like, well, I shouldn't really need to say.
The attitude of the people is a later problem, which may or may not change once the king has been dealt with and the prince doesn't step up in his place. So, and I've gotten into the habit of just calling him prince, but now that we have two princes, I should start using names if at all possible.
Mm-hmm. Yes, but we don't know what other allies they might have outside of the kingdom. We spread, which is why the rumor spreading would be a decent idea, if not possibly risky. But we don't really know too much.
Honestly, I'd worry about the rumor thing or the truth of the matter after we've secured the king and the prince and dealt with them, and then we can let the chips fall where they may. People will decide either to be, loyal to the current royalty, or glad that it is no longer hovering over them.
All right. Let's just say it wasn't an idea, though.
It is valid, and it is something that can be focused on later, for how the queen wants to go about the transition. But first we have to solve the problem before we can worry about what the next stage is.
Right.
So then the main thing is that my concern is that with the prison break being discovered, that security is going to be ramped up to maximum, if not like all hands on deck at all times. Well, especially for the castle.
Mm-hmm.
So only opportunity against the prince may be his party, for lack of a better term. Problem is that both the king and the prince are probably going to be there, and like I said, I don't like our odds trying to take on both at once. We also don't know how many of the people that we've rescued are willing to assist us in being a distraction against any oncoming guards to keep them at bay while we deal with the royalty. Because I do not need to be fighting the prince and the guards simultaneously, because that is overwhelming numbers. So we do need to find the best place and time to confront first one and then the other. From my understanding, Azrael wanted to have a shot at the king. I'm thinking solo, like he wanted to be able to get in and confront him under his own time and terms, but I'm not really sure what his plans are.
Yes, but let's discuss the rest of the information you had asked for earlier, though. So, let's get to breakfast.
What do you mean, let's get to breakfast? We're surrounded by breakfast. We're the only 4 that hasn't eaten yet.
So let's go do that.
Alright.
Morning, honey, or morning, Null.
Morning.
Marlon. Holdir is without his disguise hat, so he looks like himself.
So the real question, so let's take care of breakfast and then get the information so that we can make plans and options.
So for now, planning on pause and put some good food in your gullet. Or else I'm doing it for you. And no, that does not mean what anyone thinks it means.
Sure
I
it
know y'all
does.
shippers out. I know y'all shippers out there in the world. No, that don't mean I'm trying to feed out leash.
Let's see.
So while that's happening, you hear groups of people you rescue mixed with the resistance, talk, murmur, trying to feel at ease as to what is to happen. And you see around the big table with Rodrigue, Garland, the Queen, Azrael, and Abby discussing and planning of sorts.
With how close Ogman is, would you just basically overhear the summary of it, or no?
Yes. You hear that, you sure the king post this? Yes. I used my charms, as it were, to get this information. And it's reliable? Yes. Almost everyone from the simple footmen to guard is heeding its information. It's accurate, to be sure. Damn risky of the king, though. And to be fair, really dumb. Indeed, it
Just
is.
that word alone, and that phrase just perked up. I'm sorry, who?
Hold it. This is something that Is it something Ogden hears only, or does Nephrite hear it as well due to farther away?
Make a perception check, Nephrite.
Because Ogden is going to speak up anyways, but does he get backup from Nephrite?
Yes, he does.
Sorry, I
heard
hear the word dumb. Who's being dumb?
Ogden's going to clear that up. So the king's doing something extremely dumb. And that makes me worried. What is that going to be, if I may ask?
You say worried, I say intrigued.
Well, here's the thing. You think after the prison break, he's gonna bring all his guards into the palace to protect him. But no. He's actually setting them out.
No, that's worrying. Where is he sending them is the big question.
Actually, I'm sorry. Just, is he playing chess with a baby?
You're not realizing the situation that he could easily put us in. He could be saying that they're being sent out, but then have them double back. Or even then, if they're all going to boss.
Well, they say that only some of them are going to go to Boss, and that's only to the front gate, not to direct conflict. He's also sending troops out to Atita and Nemia as well.
I have a very big fear right now, and if I am right, that makes my fear even more bigger.
What fear? What theory? You know that not all of us are mind readers.
I know. My biggest
I
Yes,
said not
go.
all of us.
My biggest fear is what if the king has secretly had one of them implanted with a, let's just say, explosive type of negotiation.
If he does that, he will definitely risk open war.
Again, do we know this king? And yes, I'm
Roderick
sorry about
looks down. I thought I did. And same with the queen. So did I.
Yeah, Nephrate's just gonna punch Augment in the shoulder.
It's a possibility, and he says while rubbing his arm.
Smooth brain move, just smooth.
Yes, let's
I
take a
don't
look at
know.
the possibilities.
It's getting harder and harder to predict what the king is going to do, how many people he's willing to sacrifice to accomplish whatever his ultimate goal is. If he's sending people out to different towns and locations with, I don't know, explosive capabilities, I don't know that there's much that we can really do to protect people from that.
Again, the explosive possibility is a possibility. I'm not saying it's a guarantee. All I'm saying is that that's a possibility. He's sending them out.
But we can't warn people against a possibility. We have to know for the fact.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm
It
getting.
can't be just a theory of a maybe that might happen, because that creates unnecessary paranoia, which is the last thing that we need.
Exactly.
Or do we need a repeat
Garland
of how
nods.
we did with Trellis? Or do we need a repeat of how we did with Trellis when you came up to him and having a theory that he was an inside job?
Trellis, an inside job? Because then...
that was not a case of he could have been an unknown inside job, because were you not informed that our enemies can actually get inside our own dreams?
No. Iko perks up. And when were you planning to tell all of us this?
I thought Iko would have told you when I confronted him about it. That is not Iko, Trellis.
Michael wasn't in the know. You mean Trellis?
Yes, again, you can tell I'm so tired. Shut up, Beth, right? And he says this absent-mindedly, which, yes, he does deserve a punch for that. Go ahead.
Okay, one, you do not tell me to shut up. The only person that can tell me to shut up is either myself or Elise. She has full reign in telling me to shut up. Also, on top of this, Your Majesty, Iko, and fellow members of the planning circle, the idea of Trellis being an inside job wasn't towards the king, it was towards, and Nephite will reveal her hand a little bit, another enemy we have in mind.
You see, Rodrigue and Garland's and Dion's and Abby's eyes light up. Oh no, you got one of those too?
Wait, two? Don't tell me.
Priffy.
And she looks at Ezreal. She's familiar with Priffy having. Wait, Priffy has it?
Yeah. What is it?
This does,
Cared.
this
Can you
does not
care?
this does not surprise the lead
Can
in
you
the
sh-
least.
Can you show them? Yeah. Priffy lifts one of the collars from her neck, her collared shirt down from her neck to show a bit of her shoulder to see the mark almost crawling up to her neck.
Seeing this, the first thing Ogden does is give his head and just plant his forehead onto the table and start grumbling in Infernal.
And Nephite slowly drags him up by the collar. Pardon my friend, he grumbles a lot when we figure out information that involves another enemy that we have in mind, and she's shooting daggers at Azriel.
She is not the only one.
What? Just
That'll be
because
enough for now.
just because I have it too does not mean I know everything that the order does.
Just so we're on the same page, mister. Just so we're on the same page.
One thing at a time. One thing at a time.
Now, let's focus on planning. Focus on the plan,
Yes.
on how we're going to get in, destroy the prince's reputation, and possibly get him back here alive.
Enough with the prince's reputation. That is just a footnote in a massive memoir that we have to deal with. The real thing is, how are we going to get into the castle, find where the king or prince or both are, as well as their security, and how the hey are we going to defeat both of them either without bloodshed or with very minimal bloodshed?
At this point, bloodshed it's a matter of when, not if at this point.
I'm going to
So-
put you the queen.
Yeah, these will actually look at the queen and says, I am willing to try to refrain from bloodshed against the queens. In my opinion, the king has stepped so far beyond the bounds of forgiveness that I'm very, very reluctant to hold back. And I know that our current ally, looking at Azrael, is definitely seeking a more lethal solution. So I cannot guarantee that that will not happen with the king. I'm at least willing to try with the prince in the hopes that he can be isolated and reasoned with over time. But that is, quite frankly, something that you would have to deal with, Your Highness.
His crimes at this point are unforgivable. I want to believe my brother is still in there somewhere. I just find it harder and harder to believe now. Of him hurting all these people, the sacrificing everything for some barbaric reason that I cannot comprehend. The price is too great now. I want to still look into his
Yeah.
eyes. See if there's a hint of the family I knew. But I would like to be there when you all confront them. And at this point, it's not a
That
request.
is my
It's an order from the Queen of Boss.
was part of my plan to have you nearby, but slightly away from the actual fray, so that you can at least try to make a connection with one or both of them.
So that means I can't throw him out the window.
No.
No.
Hmm.
But you can punch him.
Oh, that was already given.
Here's what's on the line for you, Jovial. Sorry. Here's what's on the line for you, Holnir. You can punch him. You can kick him. You can throw him to the ground. You can suplex him. You can put him in a headlock. You can put him in a sleeper hold. But you
You hit him
can't
with
throw
the
either of them
hammer.
out the window. Oh yeah, you can also hit them with a hammer. Or throw them with a hammer. Either or.
You
But you
do
can't throw either of
realize
them
that.
out the window.
You do realize how tall I am, yes?
Leave it to a spellcaster or two, and we can help you with that.
No, I'm in perfect striking height. You see him giving a evil grin.
Okay. With the king, you can do that. With the young prince, 50-50. We'll see how that goes.
Preferably not, but that's
No promises.
But anyway, before we start planning on how to attack or how to encounter either of them, the main problem right now is how to get to them. We know for a fact that they're idiotically brilliant. I don't know whether to congratulate them or just call them both idiots. But they're sending 2 guards to each of the 3 main cities. One question is why, but the other question is... Actually, no, both questions are why. Why do this, and also... Why... What's the point? What is their angle with this?
What's their end goal?
Before you come up with another crackpot theory, give me actual evidence behind it.
I'm not giving it another theory. I'm asking, well, what is the end goal of that idea?
What is the angle of them sending 2 guards?
end goal.
End, E-N-D.
Oh, end goal. Well, for boss, easy. Take out one of the biggest powerhouses and you can gain more power. Nemia, they're no longer in allegiance with them. So,
Oh
either
no.
A, take out another threat
The
before it becomes
Forge.
it.
The Forge right now, other than Boss, may be their biggest threat.
Take out all weapons. All weapons, all armors, all material.
No,
From
that
both
stuff
sides.
can be replaced. It's the crafters that can't.
Yeah.
If you destroy a forge, you can rebuild. But if you take out the crafter, then you'll have to spend a lot of more time.
Time they don't have.
Even though we don't know if that's actually the case. That's enough for
More like-
say, where's the evidence?
The evidence is history. He's done it before. Who's to say he won't do it again?
But then why target Atita too?
It's
The Knights.
and not only that, it's a port.
The port that stopped sending out any other people that wanted to become knights. If he takes over that port, he can gain pretty much any and all manpower he desires.
Up to the limit of what's available.
That too. However, though, I don't think the king's gonna have as easy as the time, hopefully, for reasons that we've experienced. That's my hope, but I don't think that's gonna be the case.
Who's to say that all of this was under the king's order?
You think it's under someone else's order?
Let's flip this around, shall we? All three targets, same plan. Under the prince's order. Send 2 guards to Boz, 1 for negotiation, 1 for actual threats. If negotiations fall through, rely on the threat. He takes out Trellis and the rest of the court in Boz. There goes the biggest powerhouse next to him. He gains that power, along with any of the guards that are there. Let's go with Nemia. He has a grudge on Nemia because of me. To get to me, you would have to destroy Nemia. Not just for the sake of pride, but also for the sake of power and resources. And then let's go back to Atita. Same thing. It's a port that doesn't go with anything that Boss or Celia stands for. If he takes control of Atita, he opens a port that gives him any and all manpower despite it being available. He's going to demand it.
Not only that, that gets him access to all the other coastal towns. With the cannons on many ships, he can bombard them from a distance.
So who's to say that the prince or the king would just stop here?
And take it global with what you're pretty much saying. Oh boy.
And that's not just a theory with nothing backing it up. History is my evidence. For both. The king already destroyed a town.
We can warn some of the people, especially in Nemia. Trellis can get back to Boss and secure the gates where they can't get past the gates. They can negotiate from outside the gates all they want, but they will not get into the city to cause havoc or mischief. I don't know.
2 out of 3.
Right, we don't have anybody in Akita to contact to warn them, but the way that they had set themselves up, they had little patience and tolerance of anyone trying to come in and tell them what to do.
Aye. Not to mention the various cartels.
Yeah, that too. Oh gosh, that too. What if he got... what if he came in contact with a certain person we all know?
But I was just about to suggest if I had remembered I was muted, but in any case, we can Ogren and I can get in touch with the Black Claw and Lorelei over in Mirrorwood. We can send people who are armed and help support the defense of Atita.
We do have to keep our own forces in reserve as much as possible. So sending a small force to basically be a warning should be sufficient. I don't know what to suggest. This would be something that Nephrite would have a lot more experience and understanding about, is simply having the crafters vacate Nemia until the signal is given that it is safe to return, would make it to where they can't be targeted by any would-be assassins. It's not going to make them happy, because a lot of them are attached to their shops and work sites.
There's something else that's ringing in my head that, again, brings up the dumb flag for these two. Why only send 2 guards per city?
To make it to where people aren't immediately hostile. I mean, it's only 2 guards. What are they going to do? So it makes it to where it seems like less of a threat. My question is how far behind those 2 is the rest of the troop, or the rest of the army?
Not only that, how far behind is Invisible Stalkers?
Those kind of things are something that you would send out in an emergency or against a specific target. One thing you don't waste is magical resources. But yes, having invisible stalkers targeting individuals once they've been identified by the 2 guards is a possibility.
So right now we're making theory. We're not doing anything whilst they're still on the move. What can we do now?
Well, the thing I would like to question is, how is my brother able to create the invisible stalkers in the first place? He's not magically gifted.
It might not be the prince. It might be the counselor.
The king is the one that's not magically gifted, which that kind of answered something in the back of my head. A little nugget for later.
Not pretty sure without that group when we're alone, but
We'll see.
I'll take it. Continue on.
But that still does leave the 50-50. It's either the prince, because we all know how his pride is. But yet, again, based on how he acts well out in public, he doesn't really have the discipline to understand or control magic. Which leads me to believe it is the... I will be thoroughly surprised if it is the royal advisor, because if it is him, so many magical questions has one clear answer.
What would that be?
If it is a magical construct, it can explain a plethora of things. A. How or where the invisible stalkers are coming from. B. In Nefre looking towards a leash, everything that happened in the courtroom in Nemia. C. A certain little action or activity that we all found at the bottom of the prison.
I think that's something tied to something completely different, which the king may or may not be connected to. I really kind of hope not, in the fact that we have enough things to worry about with just him having the artifact.
Which leads me to D. His connections and knowledge of the artifacts, as well as the Order. Now that right there would be a sleeper job. Have all the chaos being covered up just with this war alone. Who would expect a royal advisor, a right hand to the king, and a pillar of morality, having any connections to all of this chaos?
Let me just wait. Armin's jaw is dropped, and Leslie, his jaw is stuck being dropped as he's just like, error, this makes too much sense.
So again, that would make it a third possible problem. That again, we'd have to find the means to confront and deal with separately.
Yes, but right now all we're doing is theorizing without action, so let's make plans on what we can do now. What can we do, and what is the current mission?
So we need to decide which individual do we want to target, and then figure out how do we access that target.
I was looking to the resistance members like, what's your plan?
Well, that's the part that we're discussing. The king never really leaves the castle anymore. As for the prince, he only goes out when he absolutely needs to. So we're trying to figure out a way on how to do that.
So the question is how many people report to them? How do they get in? How do they get out?
Abby goes, well, this should at least help with some of things. As she pulls out a map.
I'm starting to love this girl more and more. Can I adopt you?
Is that setting character? I'm going to quickly smack her
Add a
upside down.
character. Add a character.
Sorry, I'm taken.
And also, I'm looking at this map. Cobbs, holla at the girl. Look at the right side of the map, first floor, baby.
Advisor, Wizard's Tower.
Boom. Where are my cookies?
See, so we got garden, room, study, So it shows where the king's room is, but it doesn't show where the prince's room is.
That would be J bed.
So our bed would be,
My
and if I
room.
look up at the, yep.
So they're close together. So confronting one without attracting attention to another, especially if they are always in their rooms, is going to be a lot harder. What kind of security do they have? Do they have guards on the outside, gate doors only? Are they patrolling the hallways?
Mostly the hallways and certain entrances. Usually the front entrance and the throne room entrance, and of course the bedrooms would usually have a guard or two posted.
Hmm. Yeah, it would be funny and say, hey, how about I just roll an insight to see if I can come up with a plan to get in? Or at least lure one of the people.
Listen, I'm character. I have a really obvious idea, but I'm not going to share it because of how that would just be way too obvious, and I know Cat wouldn't be that obvious.
Would you mind if I actually did that joke?
What?
Roll insight to see if I could come up with a plan to lure either the king or prince out.
You might be able to get one of them into the throne room, but I don't know. We don't know their daily routine. They don't get very many visitors. We do need to figure out how are they getting outside reports delivered to them.
Oi! You lot! Sorry. Had a breath for a moment.
Whoa! Whoa, whoa, whoa!
Okay.
First, take a deep breath, and then secondly, tell us where the fire is.
So Kane announced it. There's gonna be a ball tomorrow.
Heh.
Apparently he's got something to announce to Salius tomorrow night. He's holding up a ball. And everything.
Running out of time, running out of options.
Well, here's one option that's gifting us right in the mouth. The only thing is, how the hey are we gonna get in without being magically detected?
Well, you managed to get get into boss's ball undetected. Yes, but I invited them. You could try to submit some paperwork giving you false identities to get you into the ball.
Damn it, out of character, I really wanted. Okay, the first thing that comes to mind when you said that, Cat, was the robot scene. You know exactly which scene I'm talking about.
If you know, you.
If you know the reference, you know what I'm talking about.
This could also
If
be.
we can,
Could also
if
be
we
a
do the
lure
fight of
to us.
Yeah, that's my thought. Could be a way to lure us in.
Good question: Is this ball a masquerade ball, or is this your normal average ball for any and all people welcome?
This is Celius. Every ball here is a masquerade ball.
So, for all we know, the prince could not be the prince now that with this information during the ball. Someone could dress up as the prince and be a stand-in for when we target either the king or the prince.
No, that's the
Yay.
beauty of it. Only the people attending are going to be wearing the masks. The king and any member of the royal family, they don't wear masks.
I'm gonna, I'm gonna yell, not full on yell, but he silently yells, "Oh, thank God!" in Orcish.
Actually, Your Majesty, you said originally you invited people from Boz to your ball? If I heard
Yes,
that correctly, if not, please correct me.
yes, I summoned people from Ironmall, the Gilead, Highmore, or anyone I could reach.
No, I think I know what might those two guys might be doing. They might be doing that invite as well, for all we know.
That's exactly what dawned in my head. So, if they need a representative for Nemia, how about we do a split? For any of you guys start giving me a side eye, hear me out. They sent quote unquote representatives to Boss, Atita, and Nemia, correct? If it is under that ploy, representative for Nemia points a finger to Eichel, not the queen, just Eichel, representative of Boz under the queen's orders, and points to Null, or Holnir, whoever wants to step up for this, representative of Atita under the mayor's orders, due to them having other business.
We have one issue for that last pick. How are we gonna get the mayor's permission?
I mean, do you really think the mayor's gonna come here?
No, but again, they're heading there themselves. And even then, they'll be sending their own representative without us knowing who they are. And then if we get caught, which one do you think's gonna get caught with the because they didn't see them during their trip to Akita.
Well, most likely they'll be coming. Yes?
Don't we have people that are good at forgeries?
We got a few, yes.
Fake ID.
And well, and if those people do come on the king's request, they have to stay here for a bit at least. We can peruse the streets to find them and have them occupied while you lot go in their place.
Hmm. So, anything else against that plan? Or shall we dig a little deeper to see how we can get the rest of us in?
An idea for getting the rest of us in would probably be the case if they could also bring a +1 as a, and he uses air quotes for servant, and then he quickly says this aloud for everyone else to hear, or in this case, his place most likely slave.
+1s are allowed. Nephrite points to Leash. My +1's right here. For Eichel, he can choose. That's not the queen. And for the representative of Tita, it could be any of their choice. Heck, it could even be somebody that's in the resistance. And for getting everyone else in, does anybody have the spell invisibility? Or mass invisibility?
I'm gonna just give Never a deadpan look of, I wonder who has it and who you're referencing.
Either invisibility or mass invisibility, have another spellcaster join you, have the spell non-detection.
If we go with this plan, if Null or Holner are allowed to bring a +1, I'm gonna decide that this, almost like a reluctant side, I volunteer Azrael for that position.
Anybody else against this plan? Or anybody else for this plan?
It seems like the best plan we got.
All we got. Yeah, it seems like the best option at the moment.
But will all of you be okay?
I'll try to keep my temper and composure for as long as I can. Balls are not really my strong suit. Eichel knows this. Alish knows this. All of the party knows this. I don't do well in balls. Especially a ball that's overran by a racist.
I'm gonna want to make a joke, but he's gonna refrain from it.
Alish is like, you do better than me.
And even Eichel's saying, I don't know, you handled those Drow patrons very well from what I've heard.
Eichel, did you read my mind? Cause I was about to say she did well during the ball and boss. That's scary that you thought the same thing of me.
You heard about... Did Byleth tell you about that?
A bit, yes. And believe me, those two keep driving my patrons every time they visited.
Yeah. But with that being said, and that being our best primary plan, if anybody has a backup plan that we can resort to if that falls short, please speak now before we start going in with nothing between our legs.
I'm almost certain.